And we're live, and no, I'm not streaming my gaming this time. I don't know if I'll do that again. I'm starting to feel better, and I'm not quite better though. You can still hear it in my voice. I can still feel it. It does not feel great, we are definitely getting better. So this is Office Hours. Super excited to be doing this because last week I forgot I was also starting to not feel great last week as well. But let me see. Let me go to the Office Hours channel. Uh, where is Office Hours? Office Hours. There it is. I'm just gonna post this and this really quick. And then I will share my screen and we'll talk about what the heck this is for those of you who are new here. Okay. So there we go. Boom. All right, office hours is your chance to join me for an hour or however long to for me to answer whatever questions you have about whatever. I do my very best. I don't promise to always be 100% correct, but I won't always answer every question. But I do try to be honest, and I try to yeah, do my best to answer. So feel free to send the questions along. I do uh, give priority to folks who are in the Zoom call. But when we use up all the questions of the Zoom callers, then I go to Discord and answer questions that are in there. Considering nobody's in the Zoom call yet, we're going to jump back to where I answered questions before, and we'll just start at the top. Okay, Bjorn is asking this question. I do remember this issue. It's on the Epic stack. And it looks like, oh yes, yeah, we resolved this. So we upgraded to Node version 20 and all is well now. So good stuff. Okay, PT, I'm gonna answering this now. I've been using Remix for months and it's great. I'm glad to hear that. But it's time for me to start looking for a job, and as expected, there are no jobs for Remix devs yet in my area. Could you tell me what the majority of the companies use for data fetching nowadays? I know React Router 6.4 Plus handles this, but I doubt most of the companies in my area have migrated into it. That's probably true. I've tried Redux Thunk, not a Redux fan. Yeah, I've done Redux Thunk also not a Redux fan. Before getting into Remix, also. I've heard of React Query, but never used it. I'll bet you've got a couple people in your area who are using React Query, very popular solution. Since I already have some pretty good pet projects, I went through Epic Web Dev, written in Remix. I'm planning on just exploring the libraries you tell me about for a couple days to get a general idea and start looking for a job. Okay. Do you think just exploring it is okay, or better dedicated 2 months into creating a pet project using, let's say, React Query before starting to look for a job? Of course, the company has React Query in its requirements, if the company. And do you think only Remix projects in the portfolio is okay? Okay, so a number of questions here. First off, I would not postpone looking for a job. You should start that now, because that will give you lots of really valuable feedback in your process of what you should be focusing on. Um, and the interview should be a two-way conversation. It's not just them interviewing you, you're also interviewing them and getting as much insight into how they operate as you can. Also to just determine whether you'd be interested to work there at all. And so I would recommend start interviewing right now, and in the process, maybe you'll find a company that they're like, oh yeah, we're looking for somebody with exactly your skills, or we've been thinking about migrating to Remix, or we want to upgrade to the latest version of React Router. And so we need somebody who has experience with loaders and actions and stuff. You may stumble upon something like that. But even if you don't, you'll hear from people, oh yeah, we work on like with React Query, and it'd be really nice if you had experience with that. But the fact is, you shouldn't necessarily have to have experience with the tech that the company is using to be able to get the job. I mean, tech interviews are imperfect, and so there will be some folks that are kind of require that you have some experience with their tech before they are interested in you. And it certainly does help to have that experience, don't get me wrong. But I don't think that you will not be able to get a job just because you don't use their tech. They should kind of assume that they're going to need to do a little bit of training, especially since like every company does things a little bit differently. So yeah, start interviewing right now. Don't wait to create a pet project. Besides, you're not going to be interviewing constantly. You'll have plenty of time to do pet projects and stuff. Learning React Query could be quite useful, but again, it's just going to come down to finding out what people are using. And in the process of interviewing, once you get the interview, you can start asking them questions like, what tech do you use? Or even like in the job description, it often says, we are hoping for somebody who has experience with the latest version of React Router or with Redux or whatever. Um, and so that can kind of help guide the stuff that you do in your pet project as well. Um, and having only remix projects in your portfolio, I don't think is a really big problem necessarily. Um, if I was looking, I'm trying to think back when I was interviewing at PayPal, and I did look at people's portfolios. I looked at their GitHub history, but I never really had a problem if, like, with the tech that they used specifically. I would always just look at, based on the tech that they're using, how effective are they at using it? Um, and so, yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a problem that you only have remix projects in your portfolio. But again, if you start interviewing and you find the different tech that people are using, and maybe you find a company that you really want to work at and you know that they're using Next.js, then naturally you're going to be building a project with Next.js and that will show up in your portfolio. So I don't think that you need to worry about it. I would just start interviewing right now. Okay, Yushan, what's up? How are you doing?
Hello, Clint. I'm good. Thank you. How are
Good,
you?
it's good to see you. I am recovering, but yeah, doing okay. I think hopefully I said this yesterday, but hopefully this is the last day that I don't feel good. So
Ah,
yeah.
okay.
So did you have a question or are you just hanging out?
Yeah, I'm just reading. Yes.
Great. Well, it's good to have you here. All right, Taryn, tearing it up. Baines, what's up? So here's a fun fact. Taryn is probably the first person to, I'm pretty positive, first person to buy a plane ticket to Utah for an event that I'm having in April that I haven't announced yet.
Ah,
I've, I've
really?
I've only teased at it. I said in April we're going to be doing something epic in Utah and it's going to be great. And he was like, "When?" And so I said, "Well, if you got a plane ticket for these dates, you'll be here for everything." And he's like, "Booked." So
That's
Taryn,
nice.
you're awesome. You're gonna love it. I know that you will. So I don't feel bad. But I am surprised. So yeah, answering this now. Okay, so I've taken over as the primary maintainer for Cachefied. Are there any plans to move out some of the current adapters into other packages? Yeah, so for folks to know, if we go to Epic Web Dev Cachefied, this is a wonderful package that I've taken ownership over. And there are adapters for different cache storage mechanisms. So we have one for LRU and one for Redis and one for Redis 3, one for Cloudflare KV. And I wasn't a maintainer on the project until very recently, and I remember as the maintainer was putting this together, thinking it was a mistake to put the adapters inside of Cachefied to have this manage those adapters. Because the problem is if LRU cache has a breaking change, now you have to like swallow that breaking change and do a breaking change version update. Um, and that's fine if other people are using LRU cache, but it's not okay if I'm only using the Redis adapter or something. Now I'm bumping your version, but I'm not getting any new features or anything. So I don't typically like to have really big packages that have to assume all major version bumps of every single little thing that can have a breaking change that people might not necessarily be using. Big packages aren't bad themselves. It's just when people only use pieces of those packages that can be a problem that I'm not super fan of. So we had two PRs open for adding adapters, and that was when I saw those or when I took over, I saw those PRs and I said, "Hey, how about instead of having a PR here, could you make a separate package and then we'll just add it to the docs," which is what happened here. And Taran did the Redis JSON adapter as well. So what Taran is asking is if I'd like to have these adapters be extracted, and yes, the answer is yes. I would like to have those extracted. Um, and so if you've got a friend who wants to start getting into OS, then absolutely, this is a good place for them to start because there are like already tests and different things in here that you could just pull over into your own package. Just it looks like the so far, the standard or convention is to say cachified adapter dash whatever you want to call it. So it really doesn't matter. It doesn't have to follow that convention. And I am super into having documentation, just an example, or even what Taran did was just put a link. That's totally fine too. Um, so yeah, just super into moving those things out. All right, and this might be in the users page of your site, but how do you keep track of your own feature work, etc., for projects you're using? Yeah, good question. Yeah, it's GitHub. I don't have this on a users page. I don't yeah, the way I keep track of to-dos, I have a couple of things. I've got Todoist. I've been using Todoist for a long time, and I just use that for recurring to-dos. So I've got like a couple of recurring to-dos every single day that help me remember to like say my prayers and like different things that are just like that. And then I have my email inbox, and I use that as a to-do. So right now, my inbox is empty. I am a zero inbox. It looks like I have a draft. That's weird. Uh, with no content. Um, that is unusual. Yeah, that was a mistake. Deleted. Yeah, so I keep my inbox fresh and clean. I don't like anything in there. And so if there's something in there that I can't deal with right away and I want to think about later, then I'll just snooze it for later. I don't really do that a lot. Normally, I'll just leave it in there. And then at some point during the day, I'll get to my email and I'll just go through it all. So that's another way I keep track of things, including GitHub stuff. So I almost never go to the GitHub notifications thing. Yeah, I basically never go here. And you can see I've got unread notifications. I most of this stuff I don't really care about. So yeah, it's all just in my inbox for managing that. And then, but specifically, Taryn, you're asking about like how do I manage features that I want to work on myself. A good place to look at that would be KCD Shop. That's the most active app that I'm working on now. And so yeah, I'm just using GitHub issues, and I pretty much the main reason that I record these issues is like, oh, I'm not going to work on it right now, and so I want to just put it somewhere so I don't forget about it. But the thing is, if you forget about it, then how important was it really, right? Like maybe it wasn't that important. Um, but sometimes it is something I'm like, I'm probably not going to remember this, but I do want to make sure this happens. And so I'll throw it in here. But another reason that I do that is because sometimes people jump in and they're like, oh, I can do that. And so I'll kind of write out some of the things that I want to have happen um, and kind of explain it. Sometimes I'm very brief, but other times I'll be a little bit more explicit because I know that there are some people who are watching this and might be interested to jump in to help with stuff. So yeah, that is the answer to your question. Hope that
So
is
yeah,
helpful.
yeah. So you maintain that after you read an email, are you deleting it?
I archive them. I don't delete them, but yeah, if
Uh,
if I'm not going to address it right away, but I want to not forget it, then I'll snooze it or I'll just leave it there. If I don't need to reply, then I just archive it. And yeah, and so they're
So
all
yeah.
just archived, searchable. My wife does delete emails though. She just like, I don't need this email anymore. I'm gonna delete it. And then, months later, I'm like, hey, what was the link to that thing? Oh, I don't know.
Mm, yeah.
So she just doesn't want to use up the space, which, that is what she prefers to do. It's very different from what I prefer to do, but that's okay. Okay, so Mohammed, will you give me some guidance regarding DSA, which includes trees, graphs, and all these things? Okay, so before I answer these questions, um, I have never done formal study. Well, okay, hold on. I took some programming classes in college, and I did learn about some of these things, I think. But that should give you an idea of how important it has been in my career. So there's that. I never think about these things. Let's put it that way. Okay, so question one. Did you learn DSA to become a successful full stack engineer? Like I said, I did. I'm pretty sure I learned some of it. I don't think that I use that knowledge regularly, but maybe it's one of those things where it's just like a part of me and I don't even know it anymore. But yeah, I don't feel like data structures and algorithms are a very important part of what I do day to day. Maybe they could be, and maybe I am living below my potential, but yeah, it doesn't feel that way. Um, what are your thoughts on learning DSA and spending time on solving leet code problems? I hate leet code problems. I think they're silly. Maybe it's just because I'm not good at them and I don't like doing things I'm not good at. But I also don't see them as very useful in practical applications. Um, However, like the people build a lot of different things from the things that I build. And so if you were building like really complicated animations or something that requires a lot of math, then I could see how or like is a very hot code path because it's an animation or something, then maybe that becomes a lot more important. I don't do that type of work very much at all. And so, yeah, I spend basically zero time doing any of this stuff. And as a full stack engineer, I feel like I'm doing just fine. But if you want to get into some like charting thing or something, maybe it gets to be more important. How to become a successful full stack engineer like you? Oh my goodness, I have just the answer. Epicweb.dev. That's how. That's exactly what I'm trying to do is to teach people how to do this. So, uh, yeah, just answered your questions on the stream, and I'll paste a link to EpicWeb. Um, yeah, so like and I should mention because I know that I'm just like shilling my work, right? The people don't like that very much. But this is the best way that I can offer for somebody to become a very effective full stack engineer. Um, and I realize that not everybody can afford to pay the cost of these workshops, but I've got two cool things I want to tell you. One is that while the workshop, all of it together is a lot, you can actually now, as of last week or the last couple days, um, you can get these individual workshops by themselves. So you can buy each one individually if you want to. It is going to be more expensive. It's a better value to get them all. But if you have like limited budget left over for the year or something for your education, or you just have something very specific you want to go for, then you can get a much cheaper um, thing here. Another thing is that all of the workshop code is open source. So you can go through this stuff on your own, and anybody who's going through these workshops can tell you that the workshop app that these are using is pretty awesome, and you should be able to go through it self-paced. And I do that very intentionally because I want to help people who cannot afford to get all of the material. But at the same time, I need to make this a sustainable business. So I am selling some stuff, but a lot of it is free, and I hope that it helps people as they're going through this stuff. So good luck on your journey to becoming a full stack engineer. I hope I can be a helpful part of that. Okay, PT. And I'm gonna just say answering this now. All right, using Sentry or Sanity. I always get Sentry and Sanity mixed up. It's a problem. Okay, I have a problem since I'm using Sanity for managing both categories, category route, and static content like about and terms and conditions pages, e.g. slash about route. I'm wondering how to fetch the content for these pages using two separate routes like category.slug and slug, or using a single route but showing different JSX based on what's fetched. I think the second option is better because of SEO, but it doesn't seem right to me. What do you think? So first of all, I would say that the SEO concern has most to do with like how you want to structure your URL. So forget sanity for a second. What do you want the URL to look like? And as far as SEO is concerned, I don't think it actually matters a ton, though having the a descriptive but terse URL with URL segments that does affect SEO a little bit. Like, so if you've got blog posts, having like, here's an example on my blog. Yeah, why I love Remix. Having that in the URL is much better than just like some crazy ID that would represent the same thing. So like the URL does have an impact on SEO, but like saying blog, whatever, some category, like I don't think that matters quite as much. And if but I'm not an SEO expert. I've just been around and done some stuff for a while. So I just quit. Hold on, did I hide it? I think I hid it. Bring it back. Where'd it go? Oh no. I think what is happening? Yikes. Okay, what just happened? Um, that is super duper weird. And now Google, what? My phone is like, are you talking to me? No, I'm not. What are you talking about? Jeez. Oh shoot. Hold on. Man, I gotta stop sharing. Gotta stop sharing my screen really quick. One sec. What is going on? Okay, there we go. Close that. Close that. And geez, I pressed some funny key. All right, trying this again now, sharing my screen again. Sharing. There we go. Okay. So, yeah, hopefully that sort of made sense. Um, now, as far as like whether you should use two separate routes or I guess I'm not sure. I understand the problem necessarily. Um, yeah, I mean, it category route, manage both categories and static content categories. I don't know. Um, yeah, I don't see a problem with doing two separate routes. I think I would need more details to be able to make a useful suggestion. Either one, either approach looks fine to me from the information that I have here. All right, so let's talk about Party Town really quick. I need to get a drink. So, Party Town, pretty interesting project that allows you to take really expensive third-party code, well, any code, but typically intended for third-party stuff, and stick it in a service worker so it's off the main thread so that it is much faster. And so that is what, yeah, that's what Partytown is all about. It's very interesting. I don't feel like I have a use case for it. If I did, um, my use case would be also analytics. I've got Fathom, which is blocked by Brave. So my Fathom analytics are not totally accurate. But yeah, I could potentially put Fathom in there, but I don't really see it being a major problem for me. If I was like hyper optimizing, then I might look into Party Town. But I do know that like some websites have just ridiculously huge and intrusive analytics libraries and stuff. We did at PayPal, and um, sticking it inside of Party Town would be very attractive. So seems pretty cool. I haven't really heard people having issues with it, but I also haven't heard many people having anything with it at all. Like not a lot of people use it. So I'm not sure. I do remember. Oh man, there was a site just like a day or two ago I saw was using Party Town. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. That's cool. I totally forgot what it was though. So, yeah, I mean, seems fine. I should mention just answered this on stream, just so that they know. All right, PT is back again. What tools would you use for testing apps for accessibility issues? Um, so I would use Playwright, Axe. Um, see if there's something that comes up. I know that they've got, yeah, here we go. They've got an entire um, page on accessibility testing, and this is what I would use. So here you go. That is what I would do. Good luck. What is your opinion on the built-in Node.js test runner compared to other tools? Good question. So I literally just yesterday published another library that uses the built-in test things. Not this one. This one uses vtest, I think. Hold on a second. Does it? Maybe it did. Yeah, we're using the built-in test runner for this one also. Um, and yeah, I tried to go. I used to have, and actually still do, like this is still in use, KCD scripts this package, which is awesome. And if I kept it up and everything, then I mean, like I said, it's still heavily used um, and helps a lot. It's just a collection of a bunch of different scripts that I can use across projects and helps me keep things consistent. And it's really great. But I have with the packages I've been releasing recently, I just really want to keep things as simple as possible especially for simple packages. And so I have been using the built-in test runner and it works well. It is missing a ton of features. And as soon as I run into a situation where I'm like, yeah, it would be really nice to have one of those features, then I just install vtest and I have no problem with that either. But yeah, I do try to keep things simple. I also have the one I released yesterday is invariant and did the same thing for that one. And what's cool is I actually had or ChatGPT write most of these tests, and I just made some little changes. So I literally gave it the first couple lines. I also gave it the implementation of these functions, and then I said, well, at first I asked it if you could write tests for a library where the fake data has a theme. Give me like 5 ideas for themes, and one of them was mystical creatures. And so then I said, here's an implementation of these functions. Here's the beginning of the test. I gave it the beginning of the test file so it would know what I wanted to use for the tests. And then I said, write me tests for these functions with the theme mystical creatures. And then it wrote like almost all of these tests as you see them. I made a couple of changes to get 100% code coverage and stuff. But yeah, anyway, that was kind of fun. And yeah, I'm actually, you'll notice this is written in TypeScript. So the way that I run these tests is I use TSX, which is a cool CLI that just basically take a node and swap in TSX, and now you can run TypeScript stuff. So it's really easy. I'm using experimental test coverage and all of that stuff too. It's super cool. They even have a watch mode and stuff, which is, yeah, I think it's pretty nice. So for really simple stuff, that's what I'm trying to do. Okay, but once it gets even just a tiny bit complicated, like let me think, there's another library that I released pretty recently. What was it called? Restore scroll, that was the one. Where this one has a React component. And so, oh, that's right. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to test this. So this one has no tests because I didn't have a test from where I grabbed it and it was working fine. So I decided not to. What's complicated is it's talking about scroll position. So you can't test that in Node with vtest. You have to do that with Playwright. And I was like, I don't want to get into that. And so I decided not to. Bad example. Okay, there you go. Alex has a course. What's up, Alex? If you were to write a non-React course today, what would it be on? Asking for a friend. A non-React course. I've got a couple that I'm working on. So I'm doing one on caching. I would like to do, I think having a couple of courses on TypeScript would be good. I want to do some, like, this is all stuff I'm going to do on Epic Web eventually. But I want to have like beginner JavaScript material and HTML and CSS, like beginner stuff on there. Um, and I also have, so I mentioned caching already, performance optimization. Like these things are going to ultimately lead into the Epic stack and volume one of what we've got there already. Like everything is going to be related. And so while it's not all of these are necessarily React specific, they will involve React at some point. Even the beginner JavaScript stuff is pushing people in this direction of, okay, once you I'm going to teach you enough that you need to know to be able to work in React. That's basically everything that I'm doing. So if I could work on a non-React course today, I mean, of course I can. I have plenty of ideas that are not React specific, but everything it kind of revolves around the Epic stack, which is a React thing. So hopefully that answers your question, Alex. Good luck on the courses that you're working on. All right, RG, what's the short-term roadmap for Epic Stack? Some of the discussions that I notice on GitHub: image optimization, Vite integration, server changes, Express, Hano, Fastify. Yep, that you found it. That's it. Um, so yeah, it's like image optimization. Also, internationalization is another thing that I want to get in there. Um, and there was another one I was just thinking of that has slipped my mind. But yeah, those are pretty much the things that I'm thinking of right now. While I'm waiting for my cold to go away, I'm trying to take more and more stuff out of the Epic stack and put it into libraries, so that people aren't so concerned about the fact that like, oh, I grabbed the Epic stack and I've got like just tons of code. Well, I mean, yeah, or we could just do it as libraries and it at the end of the day, it's kind of the same, but people don't think so. And so I am trying to extract things a little bit. Um, as far as and once I'm recovered, then I can start recording videos again. And I'm doing an update to Epic React right now. And so that is what I'm focused on. So yeah, I probably won't make a lot of progress on some of those short-term things on the Epic stack because I'm focused on Epic React right now. But PRs are always welcome. Like the best thing that you could do is an example. Make an example. In fact, examples. I'll grab a link to this, and I'll paste that there. So if you go here, then you'll find all the examples we got right now, and you'll also find this video, how to contribute, that I would just love it if you made an example of any of those things, because that will help more than anything right now. Because even if we decide not to go that direction, at least we have the example for anybody else who wants to go that direction. So that helps a lot. And then like it's very easy to turn an example into a PR because you can see the difference between the stack and that new feature. Okay, that is everything that I see here. Yushan, did you have any other questions?
Yeah, a small one. Uh, sorry. Let's say you are developing a dashboard, and dashboard normally has lots of components. So, what is your approach? What is your normal method to where do you normally put those components? You- Are you going to put those components close to the dashboard route, or in a separate place?
Good question. I would probably put those components in a separate place, just because, well, it kind of depends. But like it depends on how big is this app. Like if it's an enormous app with thousands of routes, then yeah, I'm probably gonna try and keep it closer to the route where they're rendered. Sometimes components are the route that they're rendered is like every or multiple routes, and so you find the least common parent directory, and we're talking about the Remix Flat Routes convention, which is what I'm following. So I'm assuming we're talking about that. And so yeah, we'll find the least common parent there and try to put them in there. I have here. Let me actually pull this up in the Epic Stack. Epic Stack. Yep, working on a little bug right there. If we go to the remix config right here, then I have in here anything that's prefixed with a double underscore is not treated as a route file. It's ignored. And so you can just stick them anywhere in there with a double underscore prefix and so if it's a huge app, then yeah, gonna co-locate it as close as possible. If it's just like literally it's just the dashboard is all you're building, then I would just put them in the components directory right here and import them that way. I would have like probably dashboard UI or something like that. Because
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you could also do it inside of routes. Maybe you've got like 3 or 4 routes. Just do um, dashboard UI.tsx, and stick them in there, or you know, um, profit.tsx, something like that. So like you could do a directory there too. That would work too. Um, so that's probably what I would do.
Yeah, nice. Thanks.
Hmm. Okay, great. Well, this is fun. Next week, my kids are out of school for Christmas. I'm gonna just say
Mm,
we're not doing office hours next week. And I'm also going to say probably, well, yeah, probably not the week after that either. And maybe the fourth. Um, but in either case, this is the last 2023 office hours. We'll see you in 2024. Thanks, everybody. Oh,
Thanks.
and actually, before I wrap this up, if you do have a question um, before that, then you can go to kncdots.com/calls and you can record a call in here. I've got a backlog of a couple calls that I need to respond to, but I'll get to those and I'll try to do a good job of keeping on top of those so that I can still answer questions and stuff. So thanks everybody. We'll see you all in 2024.